Hi again, we're here from Gary from the American Classic Arcade Museum. First of all, I want to thank you for bringing these machines in and giving gamers a sense of legacy and history on where their favorite things come from.
Oh, it's our pleasure. You know, we find that there's a lot of people who were never able to experience the arcades in the 1980s when they were in their boom years, either because they were far too young or in some cases they hadn't been born yet. So it's just nice to be able to provide an element to the show that is a little out of the ordinary.
I'm assuming you were a gamer back in the day, like you love your favorite things.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was hardcore, but I loved playing. I played for fun, and actually that's how I got into this. Was in the summer of 1981. I was playing at Fun Spot up in Weirs Beach, New Hampshire, and they came up to me and they said, "Hey, Gary, we know you. You've been here. You come all the time. A lot of our college kids left early. Can you fill in for the last 3 weeks of the summer season? You know, just so we get past Labor Day and things slow down?" I said, "Sure, all right." So I did that, and I was like, "This is kind of fun." So I asked them, "You know, you're looking for people next year, you know, when the season picks back up?" And they said, "Sure, we'd love to have you back." And that's how I got started in this, and I'm going into my 30th year of doing this. And that, you know, I was there for the boom of the arcade because I remember a lot of the games coming off the truck brand new. Now they're antiques, and it was quite a time. If you weren't there, it's hard to describe to someone. So that's why we try to do the recreation of the room here and in our museum space that Fun Spot graciously gives us up in New Hampshire. Is just give you that vibe of what it was like in the 80s.
And you definitely catch that vibe. I mean, I remember the tail end of the 90s when arcades were starting to wane down a little bit, but I definitely remember what it was like to be in an arcade, and that reminded me, like everything, you know, the Dragon's Lair right in the background or whatever, the lighting, everything, even the way the controllers sometimes are varied, and, you know.
Oh yeah, they wear out, and it's you know, it's one of these things. You know, people will say, you know, "Oh well, that game's not perfect. You know, you should have the side art on it." And I tell them, I'm like, "Look, you have to draw a line somewhere.
Sure.
These games are out in the public, you know, 12 to 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you know, it would be nice to restore them back to original condition, but you got to keep in the back of your mind, you can't stand there right next to it the whole time going, 'Hey, don't hit the control panel. Stop picking the side art with your thumbnail.'" So yes, we would love to have things perfect as they came out of the box, but you have to strike a balance somewhere so that it's still entertaining and fun without completely draining you of money.
Absolutely. Real quick final question. Favorite game in the arcade?
Oh boy, a question that I always get asked, and sadly what happens when I was actively playing games in the late 70s, early 80s, I loved Crazy Climber, Alpine Ski, Mania Challenge. A good friend of mine and myself, we loved Mania Challenge. It was a physical game because it was so close together. You'd be playing, we would elbow each other every time just to try to get an advantage. And those were my favorites, but as I get more and more involved, like when I started the museum in 1998, you find that your time becomes totally consumed with the operation as opposed to the fun of playing. So it's tough. Once in a while I sneak out if nobody's looking or no one can find me, and I'll play a game. Yeah, don't tell.
Gary, thank you so much.
Thank you. Have fun.
Thanks.